You get the feel of it and all that. And each time I go away somewhere, I feel homesick for Wangajunga.
This land bears the story of Australia's most recent colonial history, one we are still living today. White settlers named this place Christmas Creek, but Aboriginal people have known it well before it was called this.
So all the time I knew that I had some sort of connection to this country, a spiritual connection. Every part of this river has a name where people have hunted and fished and lived off the river, and they know the bush medicines and all of that sort of thing. They survived here on this country.
This is Guniandi land. My family have lived here for generations. Guniandi, Walmajeri, Wangajunga and Bunaba people have built a home here. How and why they did is a complicated history of pastoralism, colonialism and survival. My grandmother, Olive Knight, remembers the stories from her old people about how the pastoral industry advanced across the Fitzroy Valley.
As far as I understand it to be, is because of the government issuing out pastoral leases to people who settled this area, who followed the Fitzroy River and settled, elsewhere along it. And during the 1880s, when there was a boom in the pastoral industry, and so that's how it began.
White pastoralism is still considered new here. The original owners, the Emmanuels, first brought cattle to these lands in the late 1880s. At that time, Christmas Creek was part of the larger neighbouring station, Go-Go.
When the pastoral industry started and the cattlemen were up here, they either did two things. They either massacred the inhabitants of the land, or else brought them in as workers.
For decades, Aboriginal stockmen and women made up most of the pastoral workforce and were not paid.
So the Indigenous people were there on the land where they could just be utilised as people, and slaves, more or less. So that's what they were. They were slaves just working for meagre rations like flour, tea and sugar, and a little bit of meat. You were not human even, If you did the wrong thing, you could just be put out of the way, That's about all, and you dare not do anything wrong.
Many of those old people are buried here, on Christmas Creek Station. Overgrown and in a state of disrepair, the Wangajunga Cemetery is a sorry sight.
Grass growing all over them make me no good. Just like they singing that for help. I can feel it now. They're calling out, do something about this place.
But things are changing here at Christmas Creek. And that change has come in an unlikely form. A cattleman whose home is on the fertile river flats of the Caputah Valley on Gamilaroi country in northwest New South Wales.
For us, we've been here for 101 years on this property. My grandfather and my father are both buried here. And it's a very significant place for us.
It's a region defined by the Namoy River that runs through it.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time here. I find it a very peaceful area to think and contemplate life.
While the Caputah Valley is thousands of kilometres from the rugged central Kimberley, it has some unlikely similarities.
It's a place that has treated us very well, and it's an area in New South Wales that attracts rainfall from sort of two directions to the mountain range. And, I see it day in, day out where it does happen. It draws to the river or it draws to the mountains, which I keep saying to myself is very similar to Christmas Creek.
Seeing the landscape traits he loves echoed in the expanse of the Kimberley led to John Manchie purchasing Christmas Creek Station in 2023.
I fell in love with Christmas Creek straight away, actually, and it wasn't a hard decision. You know, when our family first came here 100 years ago, you know, things were very different, and I see the Kimberley as an area of the same, and it was really a purchase for the future, not so much me, because I can just see agriculture being such a dynamic resource for the Kimberley. The history of Christmas Creek is everywhere. Everyone's got a Christmas Creek story. And I'd always heard of Christmas Creek being the sweet country, some of the better country in the Kimberley.
When he took over Christmas Creek, tensions between the community and the station had been running high for decades.
It's unfortunate that the broader community aren't aware about the lack of very basic and fundamental sort of rights that they take for granted in the cities, that Aboriginal people here are forced to endure and to maintain these conditions that are from the last era.
The previous owner of Christmas Creek controlled the lease from 1989 to 2023. During that time, members of Wangajunga say they were denied human decency and locked out of their own cemetery. The ABC contacted the family of the former owner, but they declined to comment.
I mean, we want to do things like fencing off the burial grounds. We can't because the cattle just trample over the graves, you know, and that sort of thing. We want to be able to visit, you know.
And now we can.
We're coming.
We're coming to visit you, bringing Darcy.
My Auntie Jane has lived in Wangajunga most of her life. Her second son, my cousin, is buried here in the Wangajunga cemetery.
Well, my son passed away from suicide. Suicide is a hard thing to get over.
Yeah.
I still ask these questions of why.
Auntie Jane's grandsons were only small when their father died. As they grow older, they're asking questions.
Why did he do that? Or they look up in the sky and say, oh, Dad up there, he watching us. It's been hard. With the previous owners, we couldn't even come out here. The only time we used to come out here is when we have a funeral. And it was heartbreaking coming out here, and the only time we can come is when we bury somebody.
The family fought for years for access to the cemetery.
My family buried here, my father, brother, all my aunties, what all came in from the desert, they all buried here. We didn't take them back to country, back to their homeland. We buried them here where we can have them close to us. I feel that thing, that feeling in my munda here, my stomach, that we should have take our family back to country. And I reckon, well, Indigenous people, we spiritual people, their spirit would have been at rest. But as I sit here now, I can feel behind that our family not at rest until we start coming here, looking after them.
Now, new owner John Manchie is listening to the Aboriginal people who call this place home.
And that's another thing that actually drew me to the area. I see as neighbours, you know, if we've got respect on both sides, you know, we can work together, and it's all about that. I mean, it's a matter of getting on with your neighbours, and they have such a strong history to the land as well. So, you know, we're not going to, you know, hide that from them. They're entitled to being there also.
He says it's all about being open and communicating with each other, but mostly about mutual respect.
You open the graveyard. Like, if that's their graveyard, then, It's a bit like me here, where my grandfather and father are. Of course I want to come down here. That's just a no-brainer. If that's their heritage, then they're entitled to that for sure and certain, yeah.
You gotta look like you.
For my grandmother, Olive Knight, the long fight has been worth it.
Yeah, I'm just so thrilled. I'm overjoyed to hear that there is this very, very strong mutual understanding of each other. Yeah, it feels good now. It feels that we've achieved something since then. And, it may have taken a long while to do so, but at least it's here now, you know, and just I am happy that it's here so that the children and the younger generations can enjoy the benefits of what has, what has been fought for in the past.
And those grieving can finally be close to their lost ones.
It can make us more stronger now, like to come out and sit down and know you can be there close to them and just have that cry, you know, look, like I know we miss them. But at least to come out and clean up now, giving us that freedom, you know, to come out and do something about this place. Make it a better place for our loved ones, you know, to rest in peace.